whether you're in a physical body or a light body, you're exploring a different aspect of reality and consciousness and creation, and God grows in whatever direction that is. We here in the humanity have chosen 3D because it's faster and it's physical and it's denser. So you get to do things like have sex or eat a cream pie or go bungee jumping. All right. So you get to have those kinds of experiences. When I talk to Archangel Michael, he's always teasing me. He's saying, Peter, we're helping humanity because we're invested in you guys growing because you've got stuff that we're going to learn. You have the ability to take the emotional power to energize your creations and make them more fulfilling and satisfying. We can do all kinds of blissful things, but not that yet. So, so each of them, each kind of consciousness and, as you'd call, race or species or whatever, expresses God in the way that they're designed to express.
Welcome into Journey to a New Earth. I'm Kimberly. I'm so glad you're here today. I'm very, very excited about our guest, and I'll tell you, I was already prepping him that I am filled with questions today, so we're going to learn a lot in this particular video. If you're enjoying this content, make sure you click that subscribe button and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And if you would like to keep track of what's going on the planet, but you feel a little overwhelmed, you might want to sign up for our Friday morning email newsletter. It comes out every Friday morning. We try to include all what we feel are the pertinent things happening on the planet right now and some good information that we'd like to share. It's totally easy to sign up. You just click the link in the description box down below. Super free, super fun. I think you're going to love it. And with that, I want to welcome in our guest. I am so excited. We just met. Charming gentleman. I'd like to welcome in channel Peter DeBeneditis. I knew I was going to mess it up.
Yes.
I had to look at my notes. Welcome in, Peter. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm honored to be here. I'm excited, with people like you who are really serious about ushering in the new age and the new earth and really get down to the nitty gritty of it. I'm thrilled to be here.
Well, I'm thrilled to be here too, because I have so many questions and I have a feeling that you're my conduit to lots of answers.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah. So before we get started, tell me what was happening in your life before this happened? How did this happen? When did you start channeling? Just kind of fill us in on what was happening before and then how you transitioned into a life of really working with spirit.
So I've always been attracted to this. This has always been a thing for me. Towards the first part of the new millennium, I got shingles and I was terribly in illness and pain, like wanting to die pain for like 6 months. And one of my friends said, "Hey, some of us get together and we share energies to help." And I went and I received what was called a oneness blessing, a oneness diksha, and my pain levels cut in half. And so I came home to my wife and said, "I'm going to follow this path and see where it leads." So I started going to Oneness University in India. They graciously taught me a lot, gave me a lot of they gave me awakening pretty much, transferred that. And then that was my life for a while. All kinds of things happened. I ran for governor of New Mexico because I wanted to cause trouble. I also enjoyed COVID along with the rest of us. And then went with Lee Carroll on a trip to Egypt for a month to tour sacred sites and got everything kicked off in a big, big way, big way. And so now I'm a 24/7 channel. I can speak to any entity I can identify. No ritual involved. Just, "Hey, how you doing?" And it just starts. It will look and sound like me because spirit doesn't speak in words to me. They speak in energy squirts, and I have to make sense of it. That's pretty much my story in a nutshell.
Yeah, and we were talking before we came on the recording. What I find so fascinating, and it's self-evident that humanity is shifting because channeling used to be so dense and so hard, and the channel would have to go through these whole rituals, and you'd see a complete, voice shift and energy, everything. And then you'd start getting the messages. Now, channels that are working today, so many of them, it's just right there.
Yeah, and
It's right there, and ask and ye shall receive right now, because at least I think, maybe you'll agree, Peter, that we're coming up to the level where we're working with the people who are kind of leading us a little bit, although they would deny that. They're just helping.
right, right. The energy of the planet is shifting. I mean, you know this. Those of you who follow all this stuff know that global warming is not a local phenomenon. Every planet in the solar system is heating up. You can look on NASA and see that. We're moving into an area of space where the energetics are more connected to the central sun, to source. So everything's going to change. We're getting lighter, we're enlightening, and as such, the veils are going to lift.
Yeah,
And so, yeah,
you
humanity's
know,
here.
what I'm wondering, and what I've heard is that this is a logistics issue as well, because as our solar system is shifting, we are getting more direct energy from central sun. So it's
Yes.
almost as though you're inside a house, you walk out into the backyard, the sun hits you, you experience something different. That's what's happening to us, is that we're moving more into a direct line of that energy. Is that what you understand it to be?
Pretty much that's the game. The thing is that you and I are aware of this, so it's not as freaky for most of the people who are
Maybe.
still in the mindset of, what the controllers are offering to us. Uh, they're going nuts on it. So my task, because it's my niche, everybody's got their niche. My niche is to help pull people across. I'm really good at making complex ideas simple, teaching how to do the simple steps. My first book, my Ascension Handbook, Level One, clearly communicating with your sacred higher self, is just a simple how to. And to
Mhm.
get you used to this. And we're all going to be doing it soon. We just need to understand what's happening and allow it.
Yeah, and I think that you put that so clearly and so well. There literally are changes that we're going to be needing to make as a collective in order to have this whole experiment work out and to move in the direction. And the more we can learn about how we need to kind of shift our perceptions and our energy field to work better in this new density, the easier it's going to get. So clearly, people like you are coming across to really help us with that process.
Yeah, I'm blessed to be in this wave. You're in this wave. I do want to just mention you have an unconscious word choice that I want to just mention. We don't need to do anything. It's going to happen. The question is
That's true.
how much do we allow it? Do we fight it? Spirit tells me if we do nothing, it'll take about 400 years for the transition. If we embrace it and do our own internal work, we'll do it in a generation, 2 generations, 40 years. And so I'm like, yeah, let's allow this. Come on, baby. I want
Mhm.
this. I'm tired of the pain and suffering of
Yeah.
pain and suffering.
Yeah. Before we get into channeling, I want to ask you personally some questions, Peter. Just these are the things that I mull over when, I'm doing the dishes or making the bed or that sort of thing. So
Yep.
and I probably will ask Spirit these questions too, because I'm just curious about the answers from different entities. Earth is a system of duality, light and dark, pain and joy, energy and lethargy. So we have this back and forth experiment on Earth. Here's what I'm wondering. We come to Earth and you talk a lot about clearing our issues, clearing our pain, clearing our damages. So we come to Earth, we get these pain, we get these hurts, we get this stuff. Is coming to Earth, in your opinion, all about learning to move our energy? In other words, this is an incredibly rich environment for learning how to clear that pain, to learning how to focus on what it is we want, to really move our energy. And it's kind of like oh gosh, a boot camp for learning about your own personal energy system.
So Earth is really fast for that. The density here makes it really
Yeah.
fast. I wouldn't want to frame it in my mind as we came here to learn this. We came here to live and enjoy what's possible. The problem for many of us is that we don't understand the rules of the game. So we don't fully have an experience. Anything fully experienced turns to bliss. So if we can have the experience of whatever we're choosing to create and just let it flow through us, it could be terrible, but it'll be done in a minute, and then you're back into your bliss state and you go, okay, and then that's where the learning comes in. Yeah, I do that, I get these results, I do this, I get these other results, I think I'll choose happiness. for most of us, we haven't understood that. And then we choose lifetime after lifetime to come and deal with it. So we think it's all a boot camp. We think it's all learning. And really, it's just, no, it's here for the enjoyment. We just didn't know the rules. We don't have the operating manual because of one, the density we're in, and two, we've given our control away to a lot of people who are teaching us a lot of stuff to make sure that they control the game and they control what we think. Uh, so yeah, I used to think exactly what you think, but now it's more like, no, no, it's more playful. It's not that much of a duality as much. It's just where's my focus, and my focus is what I create.
Okay, so if you were to say, here are the three most important rules of the game, what would they be for you?
Okay, so I won't break it down into rules, but I'll break down to my basic understanding. So we're
Mhm.
God bots. We're fractals of God. Where God gave us free
I
will.
love that word, God bots. I'm a God
Yeah.
bot.
Yeah. So God gave us free will and kind of we chose to wipe our memory so that we have no rules to the game. Okay. And that means we could go do whatever we want. And if we have the experience and we complete it, we gain wisdom. And then our connection is open and it goes right to source. And God grows with wisdom because, he
Yeah.
needed us to come up with new permutations because otherwise it would just be God deciding God stuff all the time. So that we're the cutting edge of reality. We're growing and expanding the universe. Now, one is know that if you want rules, one is know that. Number two is anything fully experienced turns to bliss. You have the experience, you complete it, you gain wisdom. You don't have the experience, you create a blockage, which gets stuck in your body, which it then gets expressed as old age or disease over time if you don't deal with it. It also attracts, it cuts you off from source, makes you feel alone because of that blockage. And then it also attracts new energy to it to try to break it loose because God doesn't want you to suffer all the time. So the new energy comes to give you a new experience. Now, problem is, if you didn't experience it fully the first time, you may not have the wherewithal to do it the second time. So it gets bigger and complicated and bigger. And then you have people say, oh, this is my fourth divorce, or why am I always broke, or I just can't seem to get healthy, right? And so those are the rules, understanding how it works, and then have completion. You automatically get wisdom. You're automatically in the bliss state.
Yeah. Beautifully put. Beautifully put. Now, I have a question about that. I told you I'm full of questions.
I love your questions.
You talked about humanity being on the cutting edge, and I understand that concept. In other words, God split into all these fractals to experience everything. We are the experiencers. We're the little,
Hmm.
we're the little bots of God that are experiencing it. It doesn't matter what we experience, we get to choose.
Right.
My question is, are you saying that humanity, Earth humans, are at the cutting edge, or anybody incarnated into any type of physical form, regardless of if they're more light beings than meat suit beings? Is it anybody, any entity incarnated, or do you feel like humanity is at the cutting edge?
So all of it, okay, whether you're in a physical body or a light body, you're exploring a different aspect of reality and consciousness and creation, and God grows in whatever direction that is. We here in the humanity have chosen 3D because it's faster and it's physical and it's denser. So you get to do things like have sex or eat a cream pie or go bungee jumping. All right. So you get to have those kinds of experiences. When I talk to Archangel Michael, he's always teasing me. He's saying, Peter, we're helping humanity because we're invested in you guys growing because you've got stuff that we're going to learn. You
Yeah.
have the ability to take the emotional power to energize your creations and make them more fulfilling and satisfying. We can do all kinds of blissful things, but not that yet. So, yeah, so each of them, each kind of consciousness and as you'd call race or species or whatever, expresses God in the way that they're designed to express.
Yeah, yeah, it's so exciting when you start, the truth of who we are is so much more magnificent and exciting and creative and wild than we've been taught. So it
Yeah.
just,
Yeah.
the more you learn, the better it gets because the potential is unlimited.
Yeah, that's the word. I think you hit it on the nail on the head. Unlimited.
Unlimited. Yeah. So I would like to have you channel if you're interested in doing that. And I have lots of
Spirit's
questions.
already knocking on the door. And before you ask your question, my sacred higher self has to say thank you. And just take a moment to feel the love, please, because your willingness to invite in this connection is what matters. Those of you viewing this channel at this time, what matters is the connectivity. We're going to talk about mental things and answer questions, and it's going to be exciting, but stay part of your awareness, keep it focused on the underlying energetics of the connection, of the love. That will impact you because that is who you are. That is what we see. And that is why we're so glad to be here and share this love with you.
Thank you for that. That was beautiful. Thank you. I am going to let Spirit choose who would like to answer whatever question, because I know that in more unified collectives, whoever feels the most qualified comes forward. It's a little different here on Earth. Sometimes it's the one that likes more control that comes forward.
Right. Yeah. No ego needs here. No craving for significance here.
I know, I know. So the first, and so Peter, whoever wants to come in, I am open to it, and I just love all of it. The first question is, it's a very general question, and then we're going to start drilling down to that. We have been hearing, clearly for the last several years that humanity is going through a change, an ascension process. Can Spirit describe for us exactly what that is and what types of changes that we're going to be seeing within ourselves, within the people around us, and also on the planet in which we live?
Okay. Two entities would like to speak. The first one is Archangel Michael. And again, thank you and blessings. And Archangel Michael is saying, humanity is such a beautiful, beautiful group of souls. Understand this is not your first time that you've come to this rodeo, as you so speak. Ascension has been tried on this planet and has not been successful in past incarnations. And you know this in your myths and your legends and Atlantis, Lemuria, and before that, even. What's going on now is that you understand the correct balance between what it takes to be in a physical incarnate body and have an open connection to source and your spirit life. The balance had always been too far of one way or the other, and that's why the ascension attempts were not successful. Uh, what is happening is you are doing something unique in your galaxy, your universe. You are doing ascension on the planet all at once. All at once in your time is like a moment, but in our time, it's not that. So please don't think it's going to happen like this or some event, as some prophets will tell you the event will happen. The event is happening. You're in the middle of it, and it will be a period of time. But from the spirit point of view, it is literally all at once. You are creating what it's like to be in a lower density body form and still have an open channel to source. When this has been tried in the past, it has not, your past, it has not been able to hold the connection. It would be like you would have your images of a hermit on a cave in a mountain or something, where they're just totally blissed out and incommunicative. They didn't have the ability to navigate the physicality. You're going to have that now. So that's what Archangel Michael would like to say. And now, Mira, who is a beautiful soul from the Pleiades, she is part of the ground crew, or not ground crew, advanced crew for helping humanity, helping her star brothers and sisters get ready for this. She wants to speak a little bit now. And she is here to, this is Mira from the Pleiades, and she's here saying, Peter, you just asked me these very question, and we just released a channel on your video of what life is like on a 5D ascended planet. And we want to give you some refresher of that here. The biggest thing is your consciousness will be more in a collective. Now, this does not mean you lose yourself. You are still yourself, but you just start to fit in with greater ease. If you have a this relationship with a partner, your trusted beloved, and you just naturally know who likes to do what or who gets to what you do to take care of the other person, and it just flows with ease. Occasionally you discuss plans, but most of the time you're just, knowing, oh, this person likes this person likes that, and you work together and accomplish things. Now multiply that times 1,000 or 1,000,000 or your entire planet. That is when governments fade away. That is when factions fade away. That is when what you call war fades away. And everyone just pursues their own happiness, knowing that they're collective and they're collected, connected in the collective. And that means everybody gets happy by them getting happy and them facilitating others' happiness. And that is where you're heading. There's going to be many other changes, but that is the biggest one we wish to tell you here in this particular moment. Be ready for the connectivity of who you are and how easily and joyful that will make your life. And you're starting to see it more and more. You see many, many people trying to put together communes or other living situations, and they understand this intuitively. They may or may not have the spiritual wherewithal to allow it to unfold, but people understand it and are moving that way, and you will all be there soon.
I'm so ready. I'm so excited about that. And it's interesting that you should say that because I see people just kind of shifting their interests to a little bit more of a unity consciousness, and they're not even aware of it, I don't think. They're just becoming more interested in this. That's a little bit more of a cooperative environment than this kind of fractured environment we've been going through. Here's a question I have, Michael, if you'll stay with me, or either one. Because Earth, and this is just my interpretation, and maybe this is not, the truth, is that Earth has always been what I kind of consider a real school. It's a tough school. It's a lower vibrational density, but we learn quick here because there's so much that goes on. If we no longer have the Earth School because the vibration has shifted, where are we going to go as Godbots to learn these deep, gritty lessons? Or do we just not need this type of environment? We don't need the 3D anymore. Or maybe there's other 3D environments out there.
Dearest Kimberly, we love you and we love that your focus is on the difficulty of learning. And we just wish to point out to you, this is Archangel Michael speaking, to be clear. We just wish to point out to you that you are the master of your creation and your consciousness. And you have that focus, and it is running as an unconscious program in you. And that is why you filter and understand Earth and this reality in that way. This is not a wrong way to do it, but it may not be the way that makes you happiest, because you can get everything you desire that you would call a lesson without the struggle. It is available to you. Now, in a certain sense, it's more compacted and the time frame is more quicker in your 3D linearity focus when you're in the lower density. And so Earth serves that purpose quite beautifully. But it's not just learning the lesson, it's learning what it is like and to just hold your consciousness in physicality and let it come to joy. One of the teachers that Peter has worked under taught him a lesson that we wish to share with you now. If you can imagine a giant circle and you call that circle reality, and you put a little point in the center and you call that you, and then you draw a line from that point to the edge, that's everything you've mastered. That's your area of mastery. For most of you, that mastery includes misery, pretty much, where you got this whole other area you can focus on and start to see that, oh, it can create to me and it will come to me and I can have it and it'll just be joy and bliss. Now, the reason why misery is such a focus for many of us is that the repeated lifetimes, your cycle of coming back to, when you burn your body out because you're not in connection with it, and then you come back to learn, it seems like it's lessons because it's stacked one upon the other. When in reality, it is just a single event that never stopped. Your karma in a bigger sense of the 5D and upper dimensions where your soul is residing. This is all one single thing, whether it's the fractal of this life or that life or the other life. And at a certain point, you have enough energy or enough wherewithal to say, oh, I'm tired of carrying these densities. I'm tired of living in this way. And I'm going to now do a clearing. Now, the energy is right on Earth here and now for this to take place. That is what ascension basically is. So, from the linear point of your life, oh, I've been waiting for this, I've gotten here. From the 5D bigger perspective of your soul, seeing all your lives, it's like, oh, this aspect is getting it now. When it gets it, it's going to pop to all the other ones. And it will no longer be in our consciousness that this was a learning school environment. It will be, oh, that was a lesson that was just taken some time for me to really understand. Now let me just create all the lifetimes of beauty and joy. And from the bigger environment, the perspective of your soul, it's not just your past lives, it's all your future ones. Those are happening now too. And guess what? They're blissful. And if you change your focus to, oh, look at how much bliss I had, and all I had to do was just stop doing this one thing. Yeah, but it's hard to do that in a linear sense because we're in this 3D, we beautiful. The reason we're in 3D is it's more real, it's more physical, more feeling comes into it. And that makes it more exciting. Because it's more exciting, we then put the mentality on it. Oh, this is the lesson, this is the outcome, this is the cause effect. All true, but simply a matter of focus. Go from that little line that we talked about, from instead of this line to this other line or to the whole circle. And that is your transformation. And that is what you're really here for. And it's either blissful or painful, depending upon how much resistance you have to it. It is the resistance that causes what you would call the struggle and the difficulty, not the embracing of it. The analogy that Peter uses when he's working with somebody, when he's on one-on-one helping them, is jump in the mouth of the tiger. Let it rip apart what you're holding on to. Because it may seem like it's pain and stuff you're holding on to, but really it is a mental set, a framework that is holding on to, keeping you from letting that pain just pass and be done.
So why would a human hold on to that?
There's a couple of things at play. This is me, Peter, answering, and then I'm going to go into a channel, okay? Uh, this is fun when I do this because I'm going here and there and there, and it's all this information's coming in. It's very fun. Okay, so there's a couple of things why. One is we're just patterned. We love our patterns and we love repetition and stuff, and that's an aspect of mind. Okay, now many people think mind is theirs, and it's not. Mind is not ours. Thoughts are not ours. These bodies are not ours. These are all just cooperative things we move and pass through. We live in a thought sphere. Okay. Now, but because mind has been moving so quickly and so often for so long, we tend to think it's ours. And we get our great philosophers and say, oh, I think, therefore I am. And then that's all we do and put that out there. So at the lower densities, just like we're in ascension, mind is in ascension too. At lower densities, mind is repetitive and destructive. And we know this because we all have the thought, oh, I've screwed that up. I should have done this. And it just goes on and on in your head, telling you how you could have done better and stuff like that. Even though we think we're unique, how is it that everybody on the planet is having the same thought?
Good point.
Because mind is not ours, it's external. So we pass through that. And as we start to claim, I am my consciousness, not my mind. Mind, you're telling me this. When we doubt our doubt, turn it back on itself. Mind's telling me this. It's told me that 15 times in the last 10 minutes. Okay. I don't care. I'm my consciousness. I'm going to put my focus here. Once we do that, we move up into these higher levels, clear the emotional blockages keeping us down, and then we're in that bliss state. So mind is trying to keep us in that pain state because it's afraid of being lost too. Even though it's going to come along, it's just kicking and screaming is the only thing. So that's that part of the question, or me, Peter, explaining that. So if you want to get more specific or ask one of the entities, then I'm open at this point.
Well, it's curious to me that we created this 3D reality as the overall collective. We created it, and it was created with duality. And clearly on Earth, there's just been lots and lots of challenges. There's been a lot of, I mean, it's an incredibly beautiful planet, at least in my opinion. There's so much innate creativity in humanity. We're these unique, very cool, very creative, very outgoing creatures. Why, if there isn't a point and a purpose to this 3D back and forth, to the duality, which we're moving out of, then why would we create it? In other words, what I'm wondering is, we clearly created it for a purpose. And it must have served its purpose, and now we're moving on to something new. So then it's kind of
From
back to my, didn't we
from a
just,
perspective of purpose in a 3D track, that makes total sense. But from a 5D perspective, there's all of it available. So, and this is the Octorian Council wanting to speak. Uh,
yes, please.
okay, they're fun. Their energy's always fun for me to interpret because it's like they use concepts and stuff. And I'm like, okay, are there words for that? Okay. All right. So, oh, okay. So, there was no purpose as you apply the word purpose for this. The reality or the understanding, not reality, understanding was that having a more compact density with what you call duality would give you two opportunities. One is deeper experience more quickly, right? And on a physical level to have that experience. Now, everything is completely available to you, including playing what you would call the dark, because it would be fun to experience and gain whatever wisdom or knowledge that has to provide. Some entities really, really liked the dark and they love, ooh, I get to control other people. I want to sign up for that. And we see that in so many ways in our politics and our movies. You see that entities have enjoyed that. And that is not right or wrong. That is just an area of an experience. Now, some entities realize that if they stay playing that game of control and dominance, then they're more tapped on where they can go with the rest of their consciousness. In your terms, it would be lower fourth density. They can't get up to higher fourth density or fifth density, which is where humanity is ascending to. So these entities are limited. Now, some entities like that. I don't care about being more connected and expansive. I'm having a good time playing this control game and I'm going to play it. And that means I'm going to do everything I can to control you and everything I can to stop the ascension of the planet, which of course is impossible because the energy is going to win as Earth ascends.
It's
But
such a losing position. I'm sorry.
yeah, it is. So the question you're asking is valid. It's not why did we choose it? We just chose a place where we could have experience. And some entities are like, "Oh, I like that low experience. I want to stay there." You see this in your mass media. Why do people watch horror movies? Why do people watch blood and gore movies? They like it. They've trained themselves to accept it and enjoy it, and they're willing to stay there because either unaware of what's more available to them, or that's what their choice is. It is a
Yeah.
free will zone.
Yeah, and that's interesting. And yes, it is a free will zone. What my question now, and anyone can answer this, whoever feels that they want to pipe in. So humanity is shifting, we're changing. Do other collectives or I don't know whether to call them collectives or civilizations, other collectives, do they go through changes like this? Have they gone through changes like this? Is this a unique thing? Earth humans are doing something unique. I know it's often referred to as an experiment. Earth is an experiment. I get that. So is this part of the experiment and is it usual, or is this something that just happens over time with different civilizations, collectives?
This is my sacred higher self talking, my soul. Uh,
Mhm.
so yes and no. Uh, all collectives, species, planetary bodies undergo their growth cycle. And their growth cycle in the past has been what you'd call from a lower density to a higher density. Now, this may seem like it's gone on eons of your 3D time, but in our time, it hasn't gone on that long, although you can trace it back to star systems, the Pleiades, and before then, the Assyrians, and before then, the Arcturians. And you can see that the lineage, and we've all gone through something similar. So, yes, this is how it is done in physicality, in this, what you would call galaxy. And yes, it is unique. This is the first time it's being done en masse all at once. And this is the first time where it's being done to hold more of the physicality in place as you make the ascension. Many of us who, like the Mira entity who was speaking here before, still has a lot of density in 560. Okay. And they can have bodies there. You will have bodies here. Okay. The Arcturian Council, they're up in around 8 and 9D. They don't have that density, they don't have the bodies. What you're doing here, the experiment is one, all at once, and two, can you keep more of the body in place so that you have more of the tactile, physical, emotional expression that is so enjoyable? You are enraptured. You said earlier you think the earth is beautiful. Of course it is. Now imagine being on a higher density plane where there's not that same physicality to present that same beauty. Of course, energetically it's lovely, but in the physical sense, it's not that same visceral experience of how magnificent the creation is. So that is what the experiment on Earth is. It's twofold. One, to do it en masse, and two, to keep the physical parts of it. So as we move forward, yes, we will still have bodies. Will they look like this? Not entirely. Longer, thinner, more light-based. People are going to start moving into different food sources, including breatharianism down the road, where you're just connected to source to keep your bodies running, but you will still have the bodies. Okay. So this is all in your cards. This is the experiment, so to speak, that you're creating. From our point of view, it is already created. It's just the 3D parts of you have not moved into allowing that yet.
Yeah. And I've heard that the end state for the Earth human is to be fully physical and fully awakened, which I think
Yes.
is
Yes.
exciting. Exciting. Okay, I have so many more questions. The next one is, if Earth and everything on Earth is ascending, does that mean that my relationship, our relationship as Earth humans with the animals and the plants is going to shift? In other words, I have a cat and a dog. Am I going to have a more open communication, back and forth communication with them as we shift? Am I going to be able to talk to my tomatoes as we shift? Am I going to be able to converse with that butterfly that comes into my garden? So is it all going to shift into this much more open communication, unified collective?
So this is Peter, me talking right now. So my wife and I, Tracy, uh, created an online community for people to get together and practice group consciousness. Literally, we go into oneness, and we've created a group consciousness. We call it Elon, which would like to channel down the road here in a second. And it's its own thing. We didn't create it. It may have created us. We're not sure. But anyway, this group consciousness exists. We're a part of it. I've been told that this is how it is on the other planetary collectives, that they started off with entities getting together and connecting. And so we're doing that, and we're getting and we're growing. And so that's, I think you'll have links below on how to join the online community. What we do when we get into our oneness is we each week ask for skills and abilities, realities to present themselves to us. 2 weeks ago, we just did animal communication.
Oh, you
Okay.
did.
and, and since then, the reports have been, wow, my dog talks to me all the time. I know what it's saying now. It used to just bark, but now I know what it's saying. And then another lady who she wanted to be a channel, and we were working on bringing channeling abilities in the group, because when it's in a group, it's so much stronger. Anything anybody has that you're connected to, you get. That's why the group consciousness thing is so beautiful. So she wanted to access her channeling. She did it. In fact, that we did a thing on channeling, and she said, "Oh my God, I was doing it." And then the next week we did a thing on animal communication, because she wanted to channel her animal. And she said, as soon as it was done, she reported, yeah, the whole time we were in the group consciousness, I was just channeling my dog. Okay. And so yes, we're heading to exactly where you're talking about. Uh, of course, they have the limitations, and animals and plants have the limitations of their physical vessel that holds the amount of consciousness that it holds. Okay. But that doesn't mean you can't communicate with it. You just have knowledge and stuff. Uh, yeah, we're so headed there. We're so headed there. And it's not that far off. It's already happening in my group.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm looking forward to that. It's just going to be it's going to be a whole new world. Sounds like a song.
I know, let's sing a whole new world.
World, yeah. All right, my next question for whoever would like to talk about this. Why is it that some humans experience a Kundalini awakening and some do not? And will the human of the future, once we're into 5D, is the Kundalini awakening going to become part of every human's experience?
So this is the group consciousness Elon that wishes to speak now. And it is thanking you for, again, being such a marvelous host and just exploring all the beauty of what we are and are becoming. So this channel, Peter, he had his Kundalini awakening, but not in the way that most people describe it. Most people, Kundalini moves like a thermometer up and down. It goes up high, and then connection is all around you, and you see more and you feel more, and everything is peaches and cream bliss. But then it comes down, and you're like, oh, where'd that go? How do I get back to it? Many people have that kind of experience because their soul is trying to show them what's available. You can be there. Now, when Peter was given awakening, what happened is his Kundalini went into orbit. So it came up and then just, and he could feel this. And so it was always at that higher state because it was always cycling back and just continuing rise. He has since come to understand the concept of torus. He thought it was a circle. It is not. It is a torus. So it's coming up your central column and going out in all directions and looping back around you. And if you can hold that in your meditation and see yourself as that ball of energy and light, then you're well on your way to having your Kundalini in that higher state at all times. And with that higher state, of course, is more connectivity, more clarity, less interference from mind. The mind is quieter at those times. When you get masterful of that, you can take the next step, which Peter is just beginning to practice. Can he send his Kundalini in both directions at once? So can he have a torus going up and out and another torus coming out and down and in simultaneously? And when your energy field does that, you are then able to do all the things we would call bilocate, move your consciousness to where you wish to see it through time and space by just simply holding the frequency in your head. Peter understands this intuitively because he holds the frequency of who he is speaking with. And it is often as simple as a name, sometimes lights or a pattern of colors or a sound, a musical sound. But once you understand that it's the same connectivity system, and you can then hold that frequency of time and space. You love your coordinates in 3D. So yes, put a grid up and just hold the time and the space and however many dimensions, coordinates, get your Kundalini spinning in a torus in both directions. Your consciousness is there. And then if you want to, your body is there as well.
So as we move forward into 5D, will the Kundalini energy be something that every human steps into just as a natural progression of growing up?
Again, this is the Elon consciousness speaking. So you are on a free will planet, which means there will be a bell curve and there will be a small tail who will choose not to get involved
Okay.
and wonder why everything is just happening the way it is. And they're going to play the poor me, pity me game. And they'll do that. And as people move up higher on the bell curve, they'll say, that's a lousy game to play. You just go over there and, play your pity game. Because a lot of us play the alms to the poor game. A lot of us say, oh, I got to, take care of them and kindness and stuff. And yes, you do. And it keeps you stuck at their level because it's a free will planet and they are choosing that. So
Yeah.
that is part of it. So we'll all of us go do this? No. Will most of us have the opportunity to do this? Yes, everyone will have the opportunity to do this. And then it is a matter of learning as we grow. No one has taught the words Kundalini or life force energy in any of what you would call your public schools. And if you
Oh,
understood that and started at an early age, when Peter attended the Ramp, the School of Enlightenment, he was very amazed how people could do things. He could shoot blindfolded archery at 50 yards and stick his target. Just amazing things that could happen. The teachers there, especially the parents, would talk about their kids. They would start raising their children with the knowledge that they can do anything, that they were powerful, they can manifest anything. And they would teach them how to do this. And then they would joke, yeah, they mainly just manifest candy. But the kids are doing that already in pockets of the planet. There's something that Peter has used in one of his teachings in his classes. There's quantum speed reading. A beautiful lady in Japan has taught children how to flip through a book just like this. And you don't even need the physical thing, but it's the way they access it. And then they're thrown into the quantum field and they know the contents of the book because they know the writer, whether it's in a different language, whether it's a technical book on mathematics, they can then do problems and solve them. So that's just instant knowing is available. So yes, as we teach our children this, it's going to happen amazing. Right now, we're just at the point where you and I, Peter, and you and everybody watching is, whoa, this is crazy wild. Give me something next, please. And we're just letting little bits in. Imagine when we get to the point where we create the vehicles for our children to
yeah,
have this.
yeah. It's going to be extraordinary. I can hardly wait. Well, I'll incarnate back in. At least I hope I will to be around for it. All right, I want to get down to some more, we'll bring it down a little bit to earth human terms right now because we're on Earth, it's 2024, early 2024. Things are looking kind of bumpy if you look out there in the world. Governments are breaking down, populations are saying, hey, this doesn't feel right. People are shifting what they agree to. It can seem bumpy. I get the bumpy feeling like, oh my gosh, what next kind of thing. How can you help us move through 2024 and do it in a way that's going to accentuate our growth instead of scare us? Can you give us any tips or clues, or what can we look forward to? What can we expect in 2024 as humanity moves through this shift?
This is Archangel Michael speaking. Again, Kimberly, so much love for you and for humanity for asking these questions and understanding where you're at and where you're going. And you're not going to like the answer. The answer is don't look. You are the creator of your reality. You are a master of everything that comes into your consciousness. If you keep allowing the fear to go, I think the word that Peter heard coined a long time ago was fear porn. If you allow that into your consciousness, then that is what you create. So you have to get to the point where you understand that you are in a bubble of heaven, that your sphere of reality is of your own creation, and everybody else's sphere of reality is of their own creation. And yes, you have controllers who own media systems who are telling you, whoa, worry, this, that, war, economic, la, 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 la. Okay. And you have that. So, what are you going to do? Earlier, Peter mentioned that one opportunity you have with your mind is to sit there and say, thank you, mind, but I'm choosing this now. I'm choosing to be my consciousness. Now, can you do this with what you call the earth situation? Can you know that you are in a bubble of heaven because that is all you allow? And then as you stay in your bubble of heaven, it grows. This is where Peter's so excited because we now get to talk about his favorite thing, clear, clear, clear. The reason you have trepidation about that which is around you, that you're even wearing it or aware of it or still attending to the news, is because the insides always reflect the outsides. That is the rules of the game. That is why you get to grow quickly and experience and complete things quickly. So if you notice there's bumpiness out there, then that means there's bumpiness in here. Now, you could do the crusader route, which many people do, and it's great for your ego, but it doesn't really change things. Otherwise, we would have solved pollution. We would have solved world hunger. We would be a world of peace. That stuff is great, and it doesn't get you the results you want. Pretty evident. What will get you the results you want is to go inside and identify, why am I holding this fear? And it almost always goes back to a childhood incident where you had an experience that you did not fully complete. Sometimes it's something simple like you ran up to your mom and you wanted to get a hug when you were 3 and she had an armload of groceries and so she couldn't grab you. And so you mentally felt hurt and then unconsciously said, "Oh, I'm not loved here." Could be something horrible by your standards of horribleness. Peter was tortured and sexually abused as an infant. It doesn't matter what the cause was, it matters what programming you put on it. Then you reflect that out into the rest of the world throughout your whole life. And when many people reflect it, then you get your wars and all the other bumpiness that you speak of. The bumpiness is just a wake up sign. Hey, we're in transition. It's speeding up. When in your 3D reality, you'd say, fasten your seatbelts. But no, we're saying this is the time to really clear what's inside you and you'll move through it quickly. And the amount of bumpiness is equal to the amount of resistance you have for the pain that was held. So, yes, these things are going on. Yes, they're going to change because they're no longer supported by the energy. This is why people who are not choosing to come along on this ride will be checking out and have been checking out en masse. There's been lots of opportunities given by the planet, given by your controllers through disease or through war or through personal, whatever it is that you do to leave the planet. And many people are going that route. And that's why it seems bumpy when you look and say, oh, this is the reflection of the transition. The upheaval I'm seeing outside of me is the amount of upheaval that is potentially within me. Let me go to the root. Let me love it, embrace it, heal, clear. And then my bubble of heaven grows bigger. And I live in that peace place, despite what's going on and chattering out here. And then when enough of us and you come to this bubble of heaven place, the planet will pop.
So we're a free will planet, and I'm assuming, because you haven't said any different or no one said any different, that we're going to remain a free will planet. Can you talk, or can someone speak to how do we move forward in a way that's fun and delightful and energizing and creating the type of civilization and society that we want to live in, that feels good, that nurtures the human?
Given where we are started, this is Peter's sacred higher self talking. Given where we have started, then it may not just be all fun and easy because many of us hold perception of difficulty and challenge. So it is no different than what Archangel Michael was saying. You allow this to come to you. You allow this to come to you. And then you see where your resistance is. And resistance by its nature resists, which is why it's difficult. As you play the game of allowing your resistance, it gets easier and easier. Some people can be all at once. You have what you would call a breakdown. And then instead of having some psychiatrist medicate you or give you a new program on how to live, you just let spirit in and you're rewired and reprogrammed. For some people, it can be very, very quickly. And this channel, Peter, has witnessed that transformation like that in people. Other people, there's so many layers that they need to go through the game of pulling layers out. And that's what they're choosing. And it works for where their consciousness is in the moment. Kind of is that snowball analogy, gets bigger and bigger as it rolls down the hill. So yes, it's going to be fun and easy. And it already is in many ways if you can redefine what you call fun and easy. Peter resists his charges. Just this last week, he was having some very, very big things come up, and he was indulging in eating comfort food. Let's pack carbs and sugar in, is what Peter was doing to not have his thing. And he enjoyed that. And he still enjoys it, although he says he's going to go back to his keto diet in another few days here, but he's giving himself, he's milking out that last little bit. Okay. Now, once he was aware that he was doing this, he said, oh, let me go deal with the issues. And it was very easy for him. What used to take him weeks or months or years or decades from awareness to being able to move through something took him a couple hours. And when he was actually in the process of feeling the pain and letting it move through him. It took him 20 minutes. And then he was back in his bliss place. And then all the things around him. He and his wife give sessions by donation. Okay. Because they want to help people clear, learn how to clear. That's what he does with his website and his tools. And he was playing the worry about money game. And that's why he was overeating. Okay. And so he changed that. He dealt with it. The next day, he's sitting in his hot tub in the morning and says, yeah, I could use some more cash in the bank. He goes and does a session for somebody and they drop a $500 donation on him just that morning, just after he sat and spent the evening before going, oh, this is the pain of it. Done. That was super fun. He's like, oh, what do you mean easy and stuff? I'll spend 20 minutes clearing my junk out and have these kinds of miracles happen. And then it happened again just yesterday. So it's now 2 weeks. And his wife was getting all upset and triggered by many things. And he said to her, maybe you want to put it off. Maybe you want to just dive in and clear it. And that triggered her even more. Because that's how it is when you're in that state of compaction, holding it. And after they had their little, which never lasts a long time these days because they're both aware about how the game is played. After they had their little headbutting time, she went and did her things, and it was really big. And she could start to report about the programming from her dad that was placed in her unconscious. And then all of a sudden, she got a $222 donation from somebody he'd just done a session with. And it's just that fast. Okay. And you think it's about money, but but it's not. It's about wounds and densities that we're holding, which then create a reality. And what you were talking about earlier in your question was how do we get to this place where it's the happy reality? Well, it works in all these areas: money, relationships, whatever, politics, whatever. It's always the same path. I am the master of my consciousness. Everything that I witness and see is permissioned or created by me. It's created by me or it's permissioned because I unconsciously let the other people trying to create negativity have their way. Now I
Yeah.
see this, I clear my connection, I release my charge. Boom, my bubble of heaven is bigger. I'm more in joy.
Yeah, that was beautifully said. Thank you. Last question. I promise this is the last question.
No, that's okay. I'm loving it. I'm loving it, Kimberly.
So I just blanked on my last question. No, now I remember it because it's one I have all the time. And I just am so, I think it comes from gratitude because I have clearly so many questions and I'm trying to understand the true nature of our reality. And what I have seen in, gosh, the last probably 30 years, Peter, is such a wave of help, off planet help, other dimensional help, channeling, and people who have near death experiences that come back and share beautifully, to mystics, to teachers, to this and that. And I mostly am thinking about the off planet entities that come in, spirits that come in, like Michael. Why? Why? It's like it's love. I just am so grateful for all the help. Why do you guys do it? Like, why are we so important to you? Why do you spend your energy doing this? Because it seems like a lot of work to help these goofballs on Earth to get through, because sometimes we can be a little frustrating, I would imagine.
This is Archangel Michael, and it's not like we can love you any more than we do already, Kimberly, but boy, do we love you more when you ask questions like that. And you're right about the goofballs. There's the entertainment value. Oh my gosh, you
Yeah,
watch
we're
TV.
huge. We're huge.
We watch the planet, okay?
I know that to be the truth.
Now, why? This is truthful on many levels. One level is service. Peter's excited about speaking. We're speaking about this because that will be his third book, which he will also write this summer, and will finish his trilogy on Ascension Handbook. Service. When you feel a completion for what you have done on your desires, and desire is beautiful. You should have desire. You shouldn't temper it in any way. If you want it, you should pursue it and manifest it and experience it so you will be complete, because that is when you will gain the wisdom and knowing. And anyone who goes through that completion cycle knows there's only one thing left that's fulfilling, and that's service,
Yeah.
because it's the only thing that gives you that same degree of happiness and joy that the manifestation of your fulfilled desire will give you. So,
Yeah.
first of all, it is service. It is the only game at a certain level. The other thing is understanding the oneness. We're of the angelic realm, and which is a whole different lineage and energetic frequency from the fractality of the divine source. But when we go into our divine source, we go into oneness. And when you get enlightenment in a big way on your planet, you're going to look at everybody and see God. You're going to look in the mirror and see God. You're going to look at this video and see God in both of the host and the interviewee. You're going to look at your dog and see God. You're going to look at a tree and see God. You're going to look at an inanimate object and see God. That is what enlightenment is. The fundamental root is the mantra, I am that. And when you get to the level of enlightenment that is coming, you're going to see the God everywhere as the interaction connection. And what do? Do you let God suffer? Of course not. You give it God every aid you can give, because who are you giving it to? Yourself. And so that is why we do what we do. And there's also selfishness here, and this always needs to be recognized. Significance is important, and people need to identify that they your children do this all the time. Hey, mom, look at me. I'm on one leg. Hey, mom, I cooked that. Hey, mom, watch me jump off this bridge. Right. And so that's the way it is. That's innate in you. Even if you're just a mom and you love your children and you want the best for them, you still want to be recognized that you're a good mom. You want your kids to say it to you, and you want other people to notice and say, hey, you're a good mom. Look what you do. It's nature. So we understand that significance is part of this. We are helping you because we love knowing that we are in service and good. We are
Yeah.
happy to claim that. And we also know that as we give, so we receive exactly. And we also know that you on earth have embodied a more physical density that gives you opportunities and abilities that we in the angelic realm do not have yet. And as you manifest those, it will no longer just be angels teaching you what's next and helping you out. It will be earth humans helping angels and teaching us and showing what's next. So why do we do what we do? All of this.
Yeah, beautifully. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you for all your help. It means a lot to us. All right, can we have Peter back? Are you
Yeah.
back? Yeah,
Yeah,
great.
I'm here. Thanks. Can I engage in some shameless self-promotion to wrap this up?
Well, actually, I was just going to ask you, how do we find out more about what you do?
Ah, beautiful. So the website is becomingawesome.one.one. So it's not a
Okay.
.com, .one. All right. Now, several things are available to you. One is both Tracy and I do clearing sessions by donation, and that's going to be available, although we're kind of booked out. So get on the waiting list. A lot of people want a little help with this, and we're happy to give it. We also teach classes. The next one's coming up on March 22nd is the free introductory evening. Check that out. You're going to do a beautiful process where you're going to meet your soul at the end of time and sit on the park bench and cuddle with yourself at the end of time and just know it's all turned out okay and get all that connection and wisdom right now. We're going to do that process free on the Friday evening. The weekend's only $222, all day intensive. Why stretch out the pain and agony of clearing? Why not just get it done in a weekend and move into a happier place? So that's going to be available coming up there. And then the community, the online, right now it's on Patreon. We're going to move to my own website, becomingawesome.one. Links will be below. Join us for that weekly meditation. We're going international. We're going to have somebody in Australia host it in the evening, one night a week there. Somebody in France host it in the evening, one night a week there. And then I'll be hosting it in the US one night a week here. So no matter where you live, you can come in one evening a week, get into the group consciousness, get elevated and connected. So starting place is becomingawesome.one, or just check out the YouTube channel, Becoming Awesome. Get lots of channelings there.
Yeah, Beautiful work you're doing. Everything will be listed in the description box down below. Thank you
Thank you.
so much for all that you're doing for humanity. You have been so wonderful to talk to. I've enjoyed it so much, and I can't wait for you to come back again. Will you come back and see us again?
I would love to, and this is just Peter talking. It never ceases to amaze me. And this is my ego talking as well as my humbleness talking. It never ceases to amaze me. I just think I'm a regular guy doing this. And then people who watch it tell me, oh, I could feel the love coming through. And I'm like, huh? What? Now I know energetically it's there, but still I'm a little bit gapped from being totally immersed in it. So any opportunity to keep doing this and growing and helping others grow is my honor. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Peter. It's been wonderful. Thanks everyone for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Coming up next, this is a good one, or you might really like this one too. Either one of them could be perfect for you. Before you leave, don't forget to subscribe.